Hello. I am DK, and on this channel I help you grow practical leadership skills. Want to be a leader? You are at the right place. Let's begin the journey.
This topic is most essential and hottest topic for present and future generation to understand carefully for personal and professional life. What is emotional intelligence? A is nothing but being more aware of our own feelings, being more aware of how others are feelings. So, the ability to recognize your own emotions and understand why you are experiencing this emotion is extremely critical. A is nothing but being more aware of our own feelings, being more aware of how others are feelings. So, the ability to recognize your own emotions and understand why you are experiencing this emotion is extremely critical. What we have to understand. The capacity for recognizing our own feelings and those of others, for motivating ourselves and for managing emotions well in ourselves and our relationship. 1. Components of A. 2. Recognize your own emotions. 3. Empathize with the feeling of others. 4. Respond appropriately to others. In an earlier video, we had explained about our two selves, the ego and the natural self. Now, one of the problems about ego is not bad. The ego within us is actually driven by a sense of survival. It wants us to survive and to live in this world over time, over generation. So, it is conditioned by genetics, our hereditary, and also our socialization in the present life. It wants us to be safe. So, it is constantly perceiving threats, and which drives fear and a very important emotion. 1. Activate, pleasant, that are happiness, calm, relaxed, exited, pride, and content. 2. Deactivate, unpleasant, that are anger, fear, shame, and guilt, sad, ego, and envy. A means to deactivate our unpleasant nature or behavior and to be the best version of ourself. Let's see all topics one by one and try to note down on paper your own self and the way to improve it. We have discussed earlier about ego. Now, let's understand some key point of it. 1. Driven by the need for survival. 2. Fear, threat perception. 3. Comparison, outperforming others' control. 4. Identify strengthening. 5. Self-criticizing. What we say to ourselves is programmed. 1. Hereditary. 2. Socialization. Self-talk, authorities, childish, abusive, tender, divine, and so on. Often a mixture of truth and fallacy. Ego is talked between our natural self and ego self. What should be our thinking style? Catastrophizing, overgeneralization, to mind reading, all or nothing, to fortune telling, discounting the positives, to magnification or minimization, should. Let's understand brain and our biology. Process negative emotions to switch off stress. Thinking brain, emotional brain. The emotional part is not in our control. It keeps sensing emotions, and then if you are not careful, these emotions will drive your thoughts, will control how you think. You have to be careful in believing the thoughts that are coming to you. Now, the thinking style ego is extremely good at catastrophizing. Imagine that there is something wrong that can happen. So, it discounts the positive and magnifies the negatives, minimizing the positives over generalizing. The problem with us, because we are comparing ourselves with others, and then we get into thinking, and while we read minds, we think that the other person may be thinking bad of me. When you can properly think about your emotions, that would be emotional intelligence. Let's understand the first topic of A, that is anger, and how we can deactivate it. If you want to heal your heart's wounds, start healing your thoughts. Anger, reflection. Reflect on the last episode of anger. Recall your memory. 1. What made you angry? 2. What triggered it? 3. What were the thoughts you had? 4. What did you do? Anger generates by two things, expectation and judgment. Now, let's understand how to manage the anger. First, cognitive reappraisal, questioning expectation. 2. Do I have valid grounds to have this expectation? 3. Have I communicated the expectation to others? Second, information. 1. Do I have enough information to jump to this judgment? 2. Could I be wrong? Appreciative inquiry, asking positive questions. Could the other person have made a genuine error? Practicing forgiveness, only antidote to anger. Forgiveness is a very powerful tool. Anger is like holding burning coal in your hand, hoping you will throw it at someone. Buddha. Question your expectation, question the information you have, and see if you can forgive. If you can practice the alternate thoughts, you give yourself a chance to manage anger and to act in a more thoughtful manner. Let's understand the second topic of A, and that is fear. Fear and its reflection. 1. What made you experience fear? 2. What were the thoughts you had? 3. What did you do? Fear means false evidence appearing real. How it generates. 1. Threats and 2. Survival. I hope you understand the fear. Let's understand how to manage fear. You are smart, intelligent, educated and do not believe the word fear. Because you have all the relevant experience to nullify the fear. But if you can't in any sort of situation learn to manage it. 1. Past, cannot be changed. 2. Present, the most important time. 3. Future, pure imagination. Practice unshakable faith in your natural self. The limitless potential we were born with. Innate ability to perform, enjoy, learn, love and grow. Fear meditation, 5 minutes of awareness. 1. What am I experiencing? 2. What am I thinking? Cognitive reappraisal, the future is pure imagination. Practice gratitude, God's kingdom, the power that are there within us and it is within each one of us. The third point of emotional intelligence that we have to deactivate is shame and guilt. We will apply the principles that we have been learning about emotional intelligence and will try apply them to their two emotions of shame and guilt. When we look at shame and guilt, they are essentially driven by three important characteristics of our ego self, of the self within us, which is driven by socializing habits and automaticity. The first one is what we call as mind reading. What is mind reading? We make an attempt to think about what do others think about me. The second one is what's my identity, self-image. Am I doing things that are for my identity? Am I doing things that are right for my self-image? Next time when you experience shame and guilt and what would others think about me, take a pause and ask yourself, can I even mind read? Is it even possible to read what others think of me? When we experience shame and guilt, I would want to remind you that we have to less self-critical and more self-compassionate about ourselves. How to manage shame and guilt. Repeat with me all 4 points what I speak and make yourself remind every time when you feel shame and guilt. 1. Be less self-critical and more self-compassionate. 2. Learn from mistakes and grow. 3. You are most beautiful than you think. 4. You are not a mind reader. To summarize, next time when you think, feel, experience shame and guilt, remind yourself that the automatic thoughts about shame and guilt at mind reading, overemphasizing negatives, criticizing, putting blame on yourself. Take a pause and remind yourself of the other side, the alternative things, your positives that you have. The last topic of emotional intelligence is envy. Managing envy, jealousy, a very important and negative emotion that we experience in our lives. Envy, reflection is. 1. What made you experience envy? 2. What were the thoughts you had? 3. What did you do? Go through all 3 questions and ask yourself honestly that is there anything like envy exist? And yes, if you are still in any dilemma, just understand how to manage envy and your all doubt will be clear. Let me tell you, after learn how to deactivate all 4 points of emotional intelligence, you should not require to visit any videos or lectures. The last topic of emotional intelligence is how to manage envy. These 2 things create envy. 1. Comparisons and 2. Competition. Envy is nothing but the art of counting another's blessing instead of your own. Challenge rather than pressure. Opportunity to find ourselves. It's a way to my self-discovery. Helps me learn and grow. Comparing yourself with what you were 10 years ago. Remember your achievements. Remember your strengths. Count your blessings. Thank you for watching. Please watch the videos, like, share and subscribe for better future.